The Pharisees in the gospel today, in their eagerness to catch Jesus, to trap him, to trick him, use the Sabbath against him, but they do so in a way that they adhere to the letter of the law, but they entirely miss the heart, the spirit of the law. His disciples are picking grain because they're hungry, and they accuse them of working on the Sabbath and therefore violating it. But Christ asserts his lordship, that he is the Lord of the Sabbath, that the Sabbath is not made for servile obedience alone, but that it is made for the Lord, to give our hearts to the Lord. And the Pharisees miss this entirely by adhering to that letter of the law without the spirit, without the heart. And of course, Christ is that Lord for whom the Sabbath exists in the first place, for whom that holy day exists on the first place. And so the Pharisees miss him entirely. They miss the Lord who is standing right in front of them, because they are holding on to that letter of the law, and they miss that heart, they miss that spirit. And so we too can approach the Lord's Day, can approach Sunday, out of this sense of kind of blind, servile obedience, because it's our obligation, because it's what we have to do as Catholics. But if that's all the Lord's Day is for us, we miss it entirely. We miss the Lord himself. We miss Christ, who is the Lord of the Sabbath. We hear in the first reading of this man Hezekiah, who is on the brink of death. But God hears his prayer, and he says, I will heal you. I will rescue you in your city. I will shield you. The psalm echoes this as well when it says, you saved my life, O Lord. I shall not die. Because those words that God speaks to Hezekiah, I shall heal you, I shall rescue you, I shall protect you, those are the words that he speaks to us, that by his death and by his resurrection, he has healed us, he has rescued us, he protects us. And so we shall not die because Jesus is Lord. And that is why we have the Sabbath. That is why we have Sunday. That is why we have that day of rest, to remind ourselves that Jesus is Lord, that he has triumphed, and to come to him for our healing, for our rescue, for our protection, that he may make us whole, that he may make us fully alive. That is why the Sabbath exists, that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath, and we come to him to receive that mercy. He says to the Pharisees, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Meaning I desire more than just kind of the empty display of worship. I desire your hearts to receive his mercy and then to pass that mercy on ourselves. That is what it truly means to keep the Sabbath holy. And so whenever we approach Sunday, or indeed whenever we approach any Mass, we do so to receive that healing from our Lord, to receive that restoration, to receive that protection. And so when we do so, where are our hearts? Are we kind of going through the motions blindly out of a sense of blind obedience? Or are we truly keeping that Sabbath holy by giving Christ what he wants most, our very heart, so that he can heal us, so that he can rescue us, and so that he can protect us? The Sabbath is made for the Lord, for us to give the Lord our entire heart. Let us never forget, as the Pharisees did, that Jesus is Lord. He is Lord of our life, he is Lord of our salvation, and he is even Lord of the Sabbath.